Chapter 26, Mastering Solidworks, Using Annotations and Symbols. Annotations and symbols are major components of the communication design through the drawing. Solidworks several tools available to help the manager that needs to make engineering drawings look good and communicate effectively. In this chapter, you will learn to place notes, insert, create blocks, assess symbols, apply center marks and center lines using notes, and it shows the A icon. Notes over the workhorse SolidWorks annotations. You can use the notes in many ways to mix them with the links for the custom property, hyperlink for the trap wrapping boxes. You can also use them style leader symbol of balloons. You can even add balloons into the notes. Because of this capitalization big issue with the engineering drawing, SolidWorks has added setting to many of the property managers specify the text so that it forces all uppercase to be used. You will find the setting is not as a note interface. Setting up a workflow and place notes. Here's an outline of the workflow helps to create the annotations more efficiently. Follow these steps to create a note. Click the note button over the annotation toolbar. Click the graphic window where you want to create the note. Click and edit to which you want the note leader to point to. Then click where you want the note. Type of the note. Press enter for the end of the line. You intend the force of the note. The wrap of the later will allow the line to be as long as necessary. While you're creating a note, the text box will expand with the right until you press enter for the expand with the down every time a line is added. At the end of the last line of the note, do not press enter again. This would create an extra line, but you may press escape. Escape gets you out of the note and ready to play for the new note. When you press exit twice, you exit the note where you were typing and the exit note command altogether. Another way to finish with the note is click the mouse outside of the text box with it. And this, if you're finished with the press escape, if you want to continue with another note, click it again to play with it and start typing. If you want to play with the same note with the first one again, text of the note already there, and you so click a second time. Utilizing fonts. SolidWorks installed with a font called the OLF Simple Scan OC that works in stick format. The operations such as the engraving, laser, water jet, other CNC machine functions such as AutoCAD mono font. Looks a lot like the font installed with the SolidWorks. Has very narrow width and should shaped like some of the mono fonts. Some of these fonts may not look good on SolidWorks drawings. Fonts can be also used with special characters, mathematical tools, Greek letters, windings, any of their part symbols that may find out with the Windows true type of the fonts. In the customizing dialog box, tools customized with the command. The formatting text bar is not listed, but the formatting tools appear with the graphics immediately over the text every time you enter for the new note. Editing an existing note, but unless the toolbar is already docked somewhere. So you can force it to appear. Right-click on any of the toolbar and selecting the format from the list. Format toolbar controls the size, text format, justification, bulleting, spacing, and indentation. These tools work on the text within the small text box, similar to the other window applications such as PowerPoint. The formatting toolbar is shown in Figure 26.1. Using the text box with the wrapping. Text box enables you to limit the size of the particular with the width of the occupied, but it enables you to wrap the type with the space with the level revision, place the box as well as the other places. Wrapping to extend with the text downward with the typical top alignment justification. Wrapping to extend with the upward with the bottom line is used. And you can set the text box immediately after the placement, even while they are in blank. The text wraps of the full width box width of the type of the blank text box can lift it and drawing to provide the placeholder of the future text of the blanket textbook with a rectangular border which contain the X and the border and the X are both removed. We can add the text to space for the added with the text box. The text box becomes invisible, although you can select it if you know where it is. You can box it, select again an area while you're trying to move the cursor over the text box. The cursor will display with the note assembly. While typing the note, you can stretch the box larger. You can use any of the corner handles are small. Shown in Figure 26.2. You can make a box taller, wider, narrower. The note the box won't resize smaller if the text string does not contain spaces. You may also notice that there's a section of the Note Property Manager called Work Word Wrap, which is enable the drivers to specify width of the wrap text box. It helps it to be better, precise, consistent with where it wants several notes to look at the same, and they need something better than dragging the width of the text box visually. For 26.2, show the resizing text box with the lower right hand corner. Note needs to be wrapped. The screw corner that they use to handle. Do not resize with the middle handle. This is a note which needs to be wrapped. Word width. If the custom property value with the populate with the note, select the auto annotation link with the variables option view dialog box. When you activate the text box, the resize with the text of the view value goes away. Link variable is displayed with this month's difficult this makes it difficult dynamically to resize the box to fit the note, so it might be best to deselect annotation link variable option before placing and sizing the note. or it shows an arrow going both ways inside a view in a box, like a text box. Using text note field. Text format over the note property manager shown figure 26.3 contained with the justification button with the note text bar with the fill text option. With some of the tools aren't available on the formatting toolbar. Fit text box is to press the chain with the width of the text box with the chain with the width of the individual characters. Figure 26.3 shows the stretching of the character of the note text of the fit text. In figure 26.4 over the note property manager, when editing the text, you over the creating with the note vertical justification below the horizontal justification buttons are not displayed. They are called upper, left, and right, aligning, middle, aligning, bottom align. Notice all uppercase options, which can save a lot of time. Pattern and notes. You can pattern notes linear circular patterns. Figure 26.5 show the linear note pattern property manager very similar to the sketch pattern property manager. Figure 26.4, you have the vertical justification options noted. 26.5, patterning a note. And that's work down here, the note pattern. After the note is pattern, you can change with the individual pattern instead of the change with the pattern note that doesn't make it the same with the change with the regular note. But for the regular note, with a double click with the activate with the reply to replay with the new code. With the pattern note, you have the activated with the chain. Click it again to deselect it, and then press delete or back to remove the text, and type the new text. Circular patterns work similar to linear patterns. They work like a circular sketch pattern with the same and edited limitations. Placing note and leaders. When starting to place with a note preview show with the text box with or without the leader, depending on the position with the cursor off and over the blank section from the drawing with a note with a place without and any leader. If the cursor is over the face of the edge of the vertex, the leader is added using the arrow file with the attachment dialog box tools option document properties annotation attachment. By default, a leader attached to the face with the dot and arrows, and a leader attached with the edge, and sketch item nothing at all. Views uses the regular arrow with the change of these default with the optional location mentioned previously. You change the individual note with the leader for the property manager that becomes available when you select the note. The settings can also become part of the custom drafting. Staying in figure 26.6 show the preview with the details curve when you place the note over the face, blank space on the drawing. Placing a note with a header. Alright, you can also change the setting of the bent leaders by choosing the tools after the document property to choose the same bent leader length with all the notations, save them in the templates that you use. Clicking into the active text bar place of the cursor between the letters as expected with the double clicking inside of the active text box. Select the entire word, then click with again and expect to click Control A to all of the text inside of the text box with a double click with the existing note activate with the entire content highlighted immediately. You cannot drag and drop selected text to move it within the text box. However, you can use Control Control C, Control X, or Control V to the text. Format entire copy if it does not end with the activate with the text box with instead of select with only with the border with the note with apply with the selection. Setting with the entire rather than select the note text within the note. Adding a leader and a note. To add a leader with a note with a create without a leader with a click of the note, select the leader option with the leader panel with the property manager shown with the figure 26.7 and would add the leader with the reposition of the handle end of the leader to attach to the entity of the drawing. Or it shows the option for adding a leader to note. Show the different options, symbols bounding in the box and apply to wall. Use multiple leaders. You can also attach multiple leaders with the note. Create the new note with a multiple leader. Pre-select the entity with which of the leaders to be added with a click with the note toolbar button to add the leader to existing note with a click of the note with a control drag with the handle the small with the dot with the end of the leader. Second location. Note with multiple leaders shown in figure 26.8 to remove the one of the multiple leaders. Note with a click of the handle with the end of the arrow with a press delete. And 26.8 show with the note with the multiple leaders. Using jog leaders, you can select the regular leader with a jog leader, selecting the option property manager's phone in figure 26.7, the second icon, second row with the jog leader icon. After you activate the jog leader icon, you add the jogging point with the ledger to the right of the mouse button menu mouse button. Notice figure 29 has two options, giving the control over the jog leader, insert the new branch, or add a jogging point. Alright. 26.9 show the right menu, mouse button menu on a leader. Select any, insert new branch, add jogging point. Adding a jogging point, adding a branch. Selecting add jog point commands all of the new handle with the leaders can move around. You can add multiple jog points of the leader. You can also know that both add jog points insert with the new branch are available on regular leaders without jog leaders option enabled, although it shows up with a different section with the right menu mouse button. Why is this? That's because of the question for the support second. That's maybe a question for support technicians. Align notes and balloons. When you track notes on the drawing with a try to align with them, be aware that all the notes must be on the same level, meaning with a view. The sheet of the format is not aligned with the note on the sheet with another view. We select the note with a 9 small gray dots displayed around the note in the center. They may be difficult to impossible to see, but depending on the color of the sheet, the one closest to the cursor will highlight orange. When you click on the note and drag the note with the select of the dot will align with the other dots of the same position with the other notes. When the align snaps, the yellow interference will appear to show the relation between the notes and the snapping with the alignment. So if you drag with the center of the dot with the interference aligned with the center of the other center dots. If you drag with the lower left corner dot with the lower left corner dots, highlight with the other notes aligned with the, and again interference lines may be difficult to see against light backgrounds over the drawing sheet. Balloons are not of the circular border. If you go on the border panel and note, but the property manager can apply several types of the borders to make a note into the balloons. Snap it into another quadrant, making it easy to stack horizontal and vertically. Balloons have some of the additional tools alignment, such as the magnetic lines, show the magnetic and over the line magnetic lines. Enables you to snap existing balloons to the lines, placing them balloons equally over the lines. Magnetic lines are hidden unless you have them selected. You've selected a balloon. Unfortunately, you cannot place a new balloon directly on a line. You have to place it first, then drag it onto the line. Magnetic lines are created and edited like regular sketch lines. To add magnetic lines, select a balloon that was on the line, create the drag line, the end points to drag the magnetic line. The icon shown to the left of the previous paragraph on the annotation toolbar, although it may not be on the toolbar by default, be aware that the command manager annotation does not have exactly the same tool for the annotation toolbar through the menus. Insert the annotation magnetic line. Magnetic line must be on the same view of the sheets of the balloons to attach them. So if you want to align a set of balloons, creating a magnetic line view activated with the border showing orange. If the line is on the sheet, the balloons of the view will not update within the line. Balloons also have several shapes that can be applied instead of a planar or circular spline. Also available to the horizontal triangle, horizontal bomb, hexagon bomb, diagram, pentagon, 5-sided triangle, the triangle flag, vertical underline, square, circle, the circle inside a square, inspection, hot dog shape. When a balloon uses a shape other than a circle, it is also called a flag, although functionality falls under the balloon tool. Balloons are covered in more depth in Chapter 30 is creating assembly drawings. Adding styles. For more notes on the style that can apply with the underlying with the border format, and setting from the format toolbars, text box, format panel, annotation, property manager, even if it contains the word wrap with and linked to the custom property. For example, you could store commonly used notes as a style, such as the do not scale drawing, referred to solid model with the reference dimensions. Create a note with the setting style with another existing style with a pre-select the style with the style drop down list, then place the note with the change the style with the existing note. Select the note and select with the style with a drop down list that can apply with more than one style at a time to give the note. Sometimes adding a style with can be no more than other change that may be expected with the turning off the leader's note of the multiple leaders, in particular with the style with the made with a note with a jagged leader with the turns off the leaders. Regular and multiple leader styles have to create with the regular leader notes do not turn off jagged leaders. Making a change of the leader of a note other than apply with the style to remove the styles from the note, although formatting remains that does not apply with adding multiple leaders, only changing the type of the leader. Applying a style must be also remove the ability to detect the wrap as well as remove any of the change of the text box shows shape. You can move the corner of the text box note which may apply with the style. Styles can be saved in the text box exist on the documents which they are created. You can share style on one document with the other and with other documents by saving the style as a separate file. Note styles with the extension solid notes test 1. Note test 1. Other annotation types of the similar style file names, legacy, favorite with the file types as well. After you save the file, you can load it into the other document style panel with the note property interface as shown in Figure 2610. Alright, 26 inch of the tile panel with the note property manager. These annotation type lines could be the note dimension, the welding symbol, surface of the finish of the datum feature of the datum target, balloon, auto balloon, stack balloon, center mark. Every annotation has a two of its own file with the types of the shape of the style with the styles also be called with the favorites. For example, the notes of the following two types file with the solid note test 1, solid note favorite, welding symbol, similarly with the solid welding style, solid weld favorite. Hole calls out with holes cut out with the different systems cannot use this functionality style panel contained with the following buttons. Apply defaults, remove style setting of the current interface such that the values back to the defaults, add update style, either add a new style of the database change with the name of the other setting of the existing style with delete style, remove the style from the database, save style with the external file with which be loaded with the other you added to their database, and load style. Loads the save style. Styles can be located within document style templates so that every document created from the template, those styles will be available. Using formatted painter. Format painter enables you with a copy of visual properties between the dimension of the annotation of the copy of the format, save of the text and color, both justification, no underlining, strike through or bulleting format painter tools, support with the different property dimension of the annotation of the dimension of the toolbar, support arrow styles, font properties with the units, precision, break line option with the annotation for the tool star, supports arrow style with the function property with the view of the font painter, format painter, click with the toolbar icon, annotation toolbar, then select an annotation dimension formatting that would you like the copy to either the individually select with the window, select the annotation dimension to which you want formatting applied. Links to the note with the customized properties. Link to the customized property. Customized property can be drawn from a model selected a component that subassembly reference for the drawing with a one mention for the kind of the link briefly with the chapter 20 modeling in context, but it discusses more thoroughly in figure 2611 the note with the drawing with the custom property links for the pulling data from the model showing with the drawing with the add these links with the driven with the syntax of the stamp prep sheet material. Click icon indicating the figure 2611. Link notes to custom properties. It shows the add symbol, list custom link custom property, hyperlink text. In this case, the text is combined with the custom property. Both the custom properties can also appear alone to access custom property interface tools property that we activate with the note that you want to select. To see the syntax, you may want to see the actual text video with the custom property and find with the setting with the control with one of the display of the choosing viewing annotation link variable. Hyperlinking text sometimes is useful in the drawing to provide a link with a reference documentation specification test results on several of the first button of the third row of the text format panel. For the figure 2611, the note property manager enables you to add their hypermix to with a note, either the Kuropi URL hyperlink dialog box that appears with the browse to it from the dialog box. Adding notes and symbols. Notes and symbols are regularly combined with the Solidworks. Some move to discuss them more fully with it later in the chapter mentioned here, because of the frequency with which they are used in the notes. Reference 2611, the image of the text property manager show the text format panel which contains the button interface where it can be added symbols. Using blocks and drawings. Blocks and Solidworks contain sketch elements of the notes. The the drawing with the blocks have several common uses that include the following. Use a standard note block with a tolerance to disclaimer the default requirements that you can put together the mechanism of the 2D, whether each block represents a part. You can either follow the direction fluid system, you can also use the driving stand with a note, release, preliminary, obsolete, and so on. Use a symbol as schematic that can be snapped together. They can save with the drawing formats to make it easier to play with a single etny. Like style blocks reside in the document which they are created, but you can save them as a solid block file located with the other document. Save them as part of the document template. Or the page with an A and a circle over it, which is inserting blocks. You can apply blocks in several ways, including dragging the window explorer by the block menu with inserting an annotation block. However, the most efficient way to access the design library to library files folders can be established specifically for blocks. Check with the setting with the two tools, option, file, location, and blocks. Then redirect this setting in the library outside of the Solidworks installation directory. Figure 2612 shows design library with a folder containing blocks that are selected. The blocks do not show previews in the window, but the top of the tip display large previews. You can drag the blocks from the design layer library onto the drawing sheet. So now we've went to a block design library, and it shows the different block annotations. Each block has a insertion point which snaps at the end of the point, even if there is another block. This makes the schematic easy to snap together. The default insertion point is not that you snapped it to the other geometry. Then you play with the block anywhere on the drawing to drag the point, but it needs to snap. After blocks are snapped together, they detach from one another. The click with the point with the touch with the coincident sketch relation with the display with the property manager leading sketch relation with enable, dragging the block away with the other geometry. Blocks are inserted that you can control with the shovel option with the property manager for this function. Maybe somewhat hidden the cover that does not appear with the automatically you want to play for the block. But after you play for the block, the Solidworks want you to play for another copy of the block. If you play for the exit with the cancel, placing additional block with the first place block with the one to be selected. Show the property manager won't display. Figure 2613 show the block property manager. Alright, so it's the annotation arrow, block, existing relation, add, horizontal, vertical, fixed, destination, edit leader, insertion points for construction, parameter 1, scale dimension, angle or octangle, leader type, and then the text dimension, display, normal, display dimensions, layer. These sketch relations are linked to the block existing relation. The plan lists the sketch relation with a link to the block. These relations may be the cause of the block to move improperly when you drive. The feature is most helpful. The block being the representation part of the simulated 2D mechanism, adding relation to the panel, and able to do the quickly sketch relation with apply. Placing block definition. Blocks can be linked with the external file, with enables you with the linked instances of the block updated at once, even if the being used within other drawing documents. The path box for the link to the file with the option display only if you select the click checkbox. Edit the button refers to the editing in the block with the Alt toolbar. Also X for the editing block check with the leader with the insertion point. It enables you to edit both the controls. You can select with the 4 construction options, change the entire block, the construction entities, parameters, top field 2, circle with the left, control the scale of the block with the number effective for the entire block, including text. You can also have the option to scale the dimensions, so dimension text size with a not dimension value with increase for the overall of the block size. Lock angle option refers to the rotation of the block. The lock angle option is not selected. You can rotate the block if one point is coincident to a stationary with an object such as a vertex in the drawing view. Leader, you will recognize these options with a note. Leader for the leader is attached with the block with the angled black handle, which plays the main you created with the block. You can edit the leader connection, inserting points by clicking leader insertion points button with the definition panel. Text dimension display dimension off the iteration control whether or not any of the notes and dimension of the block are displayed or hidden. Layer, you can also most add any of the drawing to layers, which in turn have controls for the items such as line type, color, visibility. Alright, creating a block. Using creating block, select the sketch annotation elements, clicking the make block button in block toolbar, accessing the command tools to lock make from the menus. That's the same as the annotation drawing symbol, but with a star on it. By default, when you create a block, the insertion point panel with the property manager does not expand. If they expand the panel, the blue origin symbol represents the insertion point that the attachment of the cursor does during the block insertion. CH26 angle light hanging on the left side of the block is the leader attachment point of the block. You can also drive the light line around the block and snap it to sketch geometry. By default, the block does not use the leader, but is one required. You can select when placing the block. Creating the block entities, insertion point layout, sketch of the block, drag manipulator on the screen position, insertion point. Alright, annotation with a symbol with pencil on it, editing blocks. Although you have few options with creating blocks, many more options become available when editing them. You can access the editing block of the 4 locations, edit block between the block toolbar, edit button on the block property manager. By choosing tool block edit from the menu, right menu, mount button menu, block folder, viewing feature manager. Standard editing function give the access for the sketch for the note elements that make up the block. You have an add or remove entities while editing the block. Add or remove the entities button. The block toolbar becomes available. This enables you to add or remove sketch note entities from the block definition. Rebuild blocks. Reapply sketch relations within the block without exiting edit block mode. Explode is available when you are not editing the block, but when it's selected, explode returns content of the particular instance of the block to the drawing. Removing them from the block, they remove any leaders attached to the block as well as sketch relations. It's not technically an edit option, but it certainly does change things. Alright, using symbols. Solidworks symbols are different symbols of the part of the font family. Solidworks symbols fall into several categories, including well, surface finish, holes, modifying symbols, geometric, hold time, dimension, and tolerance, symbol flag symbols, and you can also construct custom symbols. Using symbol notes and dimensions, you can use symbol notes for the dimension for the interesting part of the weld symbol, the surface finish symbols, hole cutout, callouts, using symbol extensively with doing geometrical dimension, tolerancing frames. CH26 show the text format panel with a note property manager from which you can access the symbol library. You can also access the symbol from the dimension property manager. More specific symbols available with respect to the property manager, surface finish, weld, hole, callout, and annotation types. 2615 shows accessing symbols in symbol library. You went to the notes, and now you've looked at the style text formatting, and then here is your modifying symbols and more symbols. Creating custom symbol. You can create a custom symbol with Solidworks language English subfolder Solidworks installation directory inside a file called GTOLM system. This file stores representation of the Solidworks symbol. Also, where you can create symbols of your own. You can edit the file in Notepad. The format of the creating symbol is simple enough, but it's somewhat arcane. The effect of the creating a line art symbol that can be used with the text, and they can be avoided. Any of the can be even used to contain text. If you're a little inventive with this, create intersecting shapes with this, integrate within your notes and dimensions. Keep in mind when the topic does not appear with a help file, that all instructions you need to assign with the GTOLM system file itself. You may have to experiment a little, discover whatever the rules in terms of making shapes out of the limits of the one-to-one matrix. They're probably easier to create with the geometry using block functionality, but blocks cannot be inserted into text notes as easy as a symbol. Also note, if you modify GTOLM system file, any one of you use the drawing to create must also have the same custom GTOLM system file. So if you actually do this and work in a group environment, you make sure everyone has the same files available to others. This file typically cannot be shared on the network. GTOLM system files must be local for all users. Alright, using center marks and center lines, you apply center marks from either manually automatic edge of the projected circular on the projection drawing with a fine setting without control automatic insertion tools option. Document property of the drafting tools, center line, center marks, and the size of the marks at Figure 26-16 show the options of the center mark, style, auto, insert in 4 holes, fill the shots, manual insert options, slot center marks, display attributes, use the document size, defaults, mark size, extended line, center line, angle, layer. Center use lines of the extent of the actual circular edge of the also control. On this tab, center line marks over the figure 26-16 show the option available to center line marks. Center marks propagate with well as 2 patterns in dimension that individually they can rotate center marks view the way they need to be referenced to them from an edge that is not horizontal. You can also place center marks into the layers. You can apply center marks to any geometry that has temporary axis with a perpendicular with the direction of view. The center lines can also place automatically with a place part within the drawing. Create a center line by selecting a face with a pair of parallel lines. The concentric arcs center lines may be displayed improperly on the parts that are created with by mirroring, as shown in figure 26-17. This bug was originally printed with the Matt Lombardio Solidworks 2007 Bible Wiley 2008. It's still active with the 2018 SP10. 26-17 center line can be displayed properly on the drawing of the mirrored part. Alright, best practice, the dimension center line should be added list. When there's no other option, center lines in SolidWorks have the tendency to dangle, but when they do, they make them take dimension of them. The dimensions often cannot be reattached. Alright, tutorial. Using annotation tutorial shows you how to use some of the tools discussed in the chapter. It does not cover the every feature with explore with a little on your own, not necessarily follow the instructions exactly. Start here. From the download materials, open the file with the name, chapter 26 tutorial, solid drawing with a drawing file with a view of the parts that does not contain the dimension of the annotation. Click the center mark tool with the annotation toolbar where the button is not there. Choose the tools customized with the command to place it on the toolbar along with the center line tool. Click one of the holes in the pattern 3 with the propagate symbol to propagate with the center of the marks all 3 holes to it. And the pattern of the view should be looked with the figure 26-18 where you're finished. Center marks and center lines on parts. Activate the center line with the added of the 2 center line with the right view with the lower left hand ear with the change of the view display with the hidden line visible. Select with the cylindrical face with each of the feature with the plate with the center lines. Select the vertical center line with the drag with the end of the path, the edge of the part with the select with the edge indicate with the figure 26-19. Initiate with the note with the annotation toolbar. Type of the text shown all on one line. Play with the degree with the diameter or symbol with the symbol of the library. Whether you can act with the U with the indicate with the button with the property manager. Both symbols or modifying symbol of a library is shown in the figure 26-19. Drag with the lower left hand right corner of the text box to make the next text rep as shown. Draw an arrow with the text note inside with it shown in figure 26-20 to make the script of the text on the block with the window, selecting all of it. Click the make block with the block with the toolbar, choose the tools block with the make sure with the end of the arrow with the insertion point with the make expand with the insertion panel with the property manager with the action with this option. When the block is set up, accept it and click with the green check mark with the icon when the block is created, delete it if from the drawing. When the block is created, delete it from the drawing. Play with the block, either the insert block with the block on the right and right view with the after you place it. Press X to cancel the placement for more block, then select with the block to activate the property manager. Deselect with the locking angle option. Select the angle of the 270 degrees. creating a block. Show the flow direction and insert blocks to open arrow, the parameters, angle degree, leader, layer. Bottom line, annotation symbol SolidWorks have many options for the connection of the creation and alignment of the display. Recent releases that have brought with a major improvement of text docs driven the annotation custom property. Hyperlinks enable you to view the property with the drawing and annotation with the content of the links for the content share line. Sharing template line style with the template's great idea with the ready available to know style with a block in there, something more flexible that can update with the external file with the crop of the documents with the use to stimulate mechanism piecing together the schematics and annotating drawings. In addition with the bells functionality discussed in chapter 3, working the sketch of the reference geometry for the make blocks, one of the most flexible functions and available. Master, create a note typed with the mixed case with either the center symbol line, symbol that does not actual center line, and it, like a custom property from the property drawing, will create a style with simply with the adds of the bold noted, applies to several notes with it does not bold, with some several styles of the external file will create a new drawing, either the favorite template, load the styles in the template, reshape the template with a new style, with confirm with the new style has been integrated into the format, create a new drawing with the template, creating a new hole, then applying the style to the note. Master, create a blank drawing, create a note with a 10 to 15 words, then force the word wrap the width of the 2 inches, add a length of the note, make in a jagged ledger, copy the note with make multiple leaders for the copy, view the various justification alignments, option for the top, middle, and bottom alignment, as well as left, center, and right. Alright, chapter 27, dimensioning tolerances. Testing. Testing.